And now, speaking of Hanukkah, tonight marks the first night of the Jewish holiday, and as Jews around the world prepare to celebrate the Festival of Lights. Joining us now to tell us about the meaning of the holiday and to light the Hanukkiah is founding rabbi at the Tel Aviv International Synagogue, Rabbi Ariel Konstantyn. Thank you for joining us.
Pleasure to be here.
So let's start with, what is the meaning of Hanukkah? Why do Jews celebrate this holiday?
Hanukkah is really a very joyous festival because it is what's known as the Festival of Lights. It is a time when it was very dark, when there was a religious persecution against the Jewish people and their inability to practice their ancestral traditions. And they stepped up and fought back, and with a lot of courage against the mighty Greek Empire, they fought and they were victorious and were able to restore religious freedom for the Jewish people and really brought light in the darkest of times.
And that's why it's known as the Festival of Light.
Precisely. Yeah.
And, you know, what are some of the common traditions for this holiday, some of the common symbols? We have the Hanukkiah, of course. Maybe you can explain a little bit about that. And, of course, these delicious sufganiyot. So why don't you tell us about those?
Absolutely. First of all, the Hanukkiah represents that when the Maccabees first came to the Holy Temple, which was in shambles and in ruins, desecrated by the Greeks, first thing they wanted to do is bring a little light back to the world. The menorah actually was a symbol of light. Every day was lit in the temple, and it represents the spiritual light that we like to give to the world, the kindness and spirituality that we represent. So the first thing they want to do is light the candles. They couldn't find pure oil except for one small jug, and they lit it that one day. They said, we'll do what we can. And miraculously, according to the tradition, it lasted for 8 days until new oil could be lit in purity. So this Hanukkiah represents the 8 days where the candles lasted and were lit. And each night of Hanukkah, we add a different candle to it. So the first night we have one candle, and each night we would add a new candle along the way in order to represent the miracle of the lights. And there's a shamash that lights it, because we don't want to use the candles for its physical light. We want to represent the spiritual light, the beauty and the connection, celebrating the miracle that God enabled us to be victorious and restore our ancient practices. So therefore, we use a separate candle to light those candles. That's known as the shamash.
And what about the sufganiyot?
Well, that's just yummy. But of course, that's because we want to represent the oil. The miracle of the oil was done with olive oil. And therefore, anything that's fried or anything that has oil in it, latkes is very common, or in particular in Israel, the sufganiyot, the jelly donuts, which are fried in oil. I also call it the Festival of Cholesterol, because we have lots of oil.
Or the Festival of Fried Foods.
Absolutely. But it's too good to say no. So we enjoy these delicious donuts and become a very strong tradition here in Israel and around the world.
Yeah, the traditional ones are the jelly donuts, but in Israel, I think they go crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Every year, they have these extravagant donuts with chocolate, with Oreos, I see, so always delicious. And there's also the dreidel.
Right.
Kids love to play with it. What's the meaning of the dreidel?
So the dreidel actually comes from a time when the Jews were banned from studying Torah, because the Greeks wanted to remove and eradicate the Jewish religion and tradition. They thought the way to get rid of the problem is to rid the Jews of Judaism, but we're stubborn people, and we said we're going to study, but in private, in secret. So when the Greeks came to check on us, we were studying Torah. The Greeks are coming. They would spin the dreidel as if they're playing a game. It's a gambling game. Oh, they're just playing. They're not actually studying. And that became a Hanukkah tradition for all generations to play with the dreidel.
So why don't we go ahead and light the first candle of Hanukkah?
Fantastic. So here we have the shamash lit. We make 3 blessings: blessing for the candles, blessing that God has performed His miracles, and a blessing on the first night that we have enabled us to reach this joyous moment. And after those 3 blessings, we light the first candle. And each night we would light a new candle and then put the shamash in a separate area. And there are many holiday songs that accompany the lighting of the candles. Hanukkah, Hanukkah, Maoz Tzur, some beautiful melodies that accompany the lighting of the Hanukkiah.
All right, well, Rabbi Konstantyn, thank you, and happy holiday. Chag Sameach.
Thank you, and to all the viewers around the world.
Thank you.